Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com, March 13th, 2025. I am at Joel Pearl, or thejoelpearl.com over on Blue Sky. Yes, it's a mouthful. Yes, it's very worth it. It's time for your TNA post show. TNA Impact tonight for the last time before Sacrifice. TNA Sacrifice is tomorrow night on TNA Plus. We will not be doing a post show. I'm sorry, friends. There's no reason to do it. We'll have plenty to talk. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Is that better? Sorry. I'm sorry.
I live for Canadian sorry, honestly.
Sorry. We don't plan on doing a post show. We will talk about the show next Thursday when we do our Impact post show. But honestly, looking at the card, it's going to be a fun card. I don't expect a lot of newsworthy stuff. Cresta and I are still going to give our thoughts on the card tonight and our predictions, and then we'll just revisit and we'll see if it's if we got it right. How about that?
Period.
Speaking of Cresta, she's here tonight, as she always is, to cover TNA and so much more. How you doing, Cresta Starr?
I'm doing fantastic. Just want to piggyback. I thought this was funny. I said this off air, and I'll say it online, too. I told him tomorrow, Sacrifice isn't giving me, all men are created equal. It's giving me 1 + 1. And if I'm going to go to math after the sun goes down, I need to be sports entertained. And I'm not saying I won't be, but I think no.
You're too busy. You're too busy running over to Madison Square Garden on a Monday night.
No cameras, please. No photos. No photo. I'm kidding. Shout outs to Netflix for inviting your girl. I had a great time. Ethan, TNA, I'll go there and I'll yap too. What up? I know you be watching. I know this feels. Invite me and Joel. Have me and Joel come down. Wouldn't you like that, TNA? Our inboxes are open. It's fine. We'll be waiting on you.
I get enough messages from them.
I get no messages.
So. I don't need more. Please don't. But listen, Slammiversary UBS, you will absolutely be welcome there. My kind, maybe not so much.
Ooh.
That's fine. I got other TNA shows that I might go to. So let me pull the curtain back for a minute. I talked about it on In the Weeds this morning. I have an interview with Steve Macklin that we filmed February 23rd. I know we've mentioned it on this show. In that interview, Macklin and I talk about the return to Brampton, to just outside of Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Oh, it's going to be Under Siege." And I'm like, "It's going to be what?" And he's like, "Oh, have we not announced that yet?" And I'm like, "No, 2 nights of tapings." He's like, "Oops, sorry." Because at that point, TNA had not announced that Under Siege was going to be the special in Brampton. Well, that's been announced. So when you do watch the interview, it'll drop next week. You'll see a moment where Macklin and I laugh about letting some news out before it was supposed to get out. Although it doesn't matter now because it's out there. At the time, it was not. But check that out. It was a really good chat. Macklin and I stood for about 25 minutes just catching up. It's our every 6-month obligated sit-down interview, which was actually a stand-up this time. Good time.
So Joel Pearl and Steve Macklin are best friends. I love that. From frenemies to lovers to friends.
Wouldn't say lovers. That would probably be a problem, especially considering his wife is a very, very lovely woman, and I would never. And also, I love my partner as well. She is wonderful. So maybe not lovers, but we enjoy our conversations.
You would share a stiff drink with Steve Macklin and one Eric Young.
You know what? I would. I absolutely would. And if you want to enjoy a stiff something with us, go ahead, leave a thumbs up on the video. You can also subscribe to us here on youtube.com/Fightful. If you want to get us even stiffer, you can go to FightfulSelect.com. Best $6 in the business. That'll always keep you up at night. All the news breaking all day long, all evening long. We got a lot of it. We had a Killswitchosaurus update. We had news on AEW combining the international and continental championships, making the Intercontinental National Championship, maybe. We'll see. But we got that news. And an interview with Scott D'Amore that dropped today. The news and the notes are up over on FightfulSelect.com. If you want to hear more going into Maple Leaf Pro, which is effectively an offshoot of TNA, as I watch my child, for some reason, sit up in bed and he's back asleep. He does that sometimes. Very weird. Wakes up, goes back down. Strange.
He heard you talk about his grandfather, Scott D'Amore.
Yeah, he's just checking in on Scott, on old grandpa. But anyway, Best $6 in the business. Fightful Select. Again, super chats. Any Mac question or statement read on the air. You can guide the conversation. You can add in your thoughts on tonight's show and what's going on at Sacrifice. And you can also donate a Humper Chat. Why don't you tell them how, Cresta?
Since we're going with the theme of keeping things hard, if you want to keep things hard and keep it humping with us, head over to humperchats.com. You put your comment in the comment box, you put your donation in the donation box, and we get to keep a little bit more of the proceeds. I'm happy, Sean's happy, Joe Pearl is happy, and the Humper Chat demon machine box is happy, and we get paid. Humperchats.com. Do it.
I'm always happy. I mean, within reason. It's wrestling.
Listen, you choose to be sports entertained, and I appreciate that about you.
Fair. Here's my last plug, and this is actually this is a free one, TNA Plus. They're giving you a free month. Go, you enter the code NXTNA. You get a free month. That includes Sacrifice. So if you want to watch Sacrifice for free, go to the TNA Plus app, and you can use that for getting a free month. They've introduced some new tiers over on their sign-up form, so you can get it a little cheaper. They now do it in seasons, so now they're doing like a 3-month option and then a 1-year option. If it's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. It's actually pretty good new deal. I don't have to rely so much on TNA Plus anymore because they show it over on Sportsnet here in Canada. So now I have a cable streaming service that I can just pop in on. Used to be that I didn't, but Plus is fine. Go in, you can get a free month, try it out for yourself, get all the background info. I know that Cresta uses TNA Plus.
I was going to piggyback on it and say, absolutely. If you are someone who's like, well, I would watch TNA, but I don't know where. TNA Plus, there's a $10 tier. It's awesome. Honestly, I don't have to worry about where can I find it. Is it going to play? It plays all the time, the right time, the way the TNA Jesus had intended.
Meanwhile, TNA, if you want to give Cresta and I a free year of TNA Plus, you can just drop into my inbox. Let's start the show. What do you think of tonight's Go Home to Sacrifice? Sorry, that's a Jay White thing. What do you think of the Go Home to Sacrifice?
This was a show that was definitely happened that is before a pay-per-view. I'm normally Care Bear, but I was sports middle of the road. There was one really, really bright spot, the Ali Santana.
Very good.
But besides that, I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't underwhelmed. I was sports-whelmed. I was just whelmed. I was whelmed. How about you? What did you think about the show?
I think I can agree with that. There were some moments where I was invested and some moments where I was just there. There was a lot of good wrestling. There was a lot of good storytelling at different points. Overall, we're going into Sacrifice. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's the most newsworthy show that you're going to get, but at least they're telling some stories going into it. I'm really more invested as to how things shake out at Rebellion. And I feel like this, kind of like when people were a little confused about how WWE was looking going into WrestleMania season out of the Royal Rumble. And I would tell people, no, wait until Elimination Chamber. That's when you're going to start seeing stuff happen. That's what we got. So this is going to be their version of Elimination Chamber. Ironic that they're doing a cage match too, but it's going to tell some stories to get you to Rebellion, which is the next big pay-per-view match, big pay-per-view show for TNA. But this is a plus event. It's going to be a fun live, 3 hours in Texas type of show.
This ain't Texas. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Every time I hear Texas, that's all I think of now. Beyonce put a brainworm in my head.
Weirdo. We open up TNA Impact tonight with the advantage match. It's Edwards versus Leon Slater. I still love that last week they announced this match was going to happen, but they did it before they announced that this was going to be a steel cage match. So people were like, advantage for what? Well, even in a cage match, we don't know what it. Basically, they're treating it almost like a war game style match, or like a lethal lockdown, but not lethal lockdown because they don't have a lethal lockdown cage and it's not 6-sided ring. I don't know. Regardless, Edwards gets the win. He beats Leon Slater. It's a good, solid opening match. They're working over Slater's arm for basically the whole match, taking out his handspring offense. A Boston knee party gets a basically clean win for Edwards. And then one thing I want to add before we talk about how you felt about the match was that the Edwards is announced that they've re-signed to TNA last week. Thought that was a very well-deserved re-signing for them. They are very, very, very useful to that company. Your thoughts on Slater versus Edwards?
My camera's going into business for itself.
I'm all for it.
Thanks. This match was pretty good. I was surprised that Edwards got the win clean. Because one thing the system gonna do, they gonna cheat. So also want to give a special shout out to Licious Black Dress. Oh, she ate that. That dress was so pretty tonight. I don't know where she got that from. I always tell her to DM me and she does it. That's fine. That's fine. I wouldn't DM me because I'm weird. But either way, this match was fine. Leon Slater getting his arm worked over. Like, not for nothing, I expected Eddie Edwards to win because whoever won the advantage here, you ain't winning tomorrow. And that's just my 2 cents. Also, that Blue Thunder bomb from Eddie Edwards onto Leon Slater before he got the Boston Knee Party was clean. Eddie Edwards is a good wrestler. Sometimes I hate his booking, but he's such a good wrestler.
Every single time someone comes at Edward Edwards for literally anything wrestling related, I remind them that one of the most slept on matches in the Will Ospreay TNA showcase was him and Edward Edwards at Turning Point. Because they did that match and people were like, oh, that's a match. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
That was a good match.
Yes, you did. Even going into it, I was like, this is going to be a sleeper match. It's not going to be super duper high spot, but you are going to see some very good fundamental wrestling. And that's what you got. So I do recommend going out of your way. You use that free month of TNA Plus you have, maybe go watch that match because it's very good. And that's something that Edwards does really well. He is as much of a teacher as he is a student of the game, and he really shows it. So his value is immeasurable when it comes to his work in TNA. And Lish as well. She's put over by almost every single knockout in the back for what she does, and other people as well for the extended roles that she has in TNA. So the signing makes sense. Edwards matches, they're always a little bit different. They have their spots, but at the end of the day, he's very solid in his work, and he gets to work with younger people like Leon Slater, who continues to learn from this. And it's just a clean, solid matchup.
Agreed.
There it is. Sami Callihan has a camera. Says a lot of words, a lot of angry words. And then Steph DeLander and Mance Warner, they interrupt. And Mance just saying, like, crying like a baby. You don't hate old Mancer. It's so cartoony, and it's very funny to me. Steph DeLander pie faces Sami Callihan, and Mance is like, hit old Mancer. Why don't you just want to hit me so bad? Sammy's just trying not to hit him.
This was very strange. And Steph DeLander asking Sami Callihan, are you crashing out? Let me tell you guys, you Gen Zers specifically, crashing out is not that. Crashing out, there's a defendant and a plaintiff. Okay? What you guys consider crashing out is not crash. Crashing out is keying your ex-boyfriend's car. This man is just angry, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. But also, can I tell you what these guys were saying? No.
They were just saying angry gruntings.
This is like if you told me an Ohio street fight, this is what I'm thinking of.
It's basically what you're going to get, except they're going to be in El Paso. So, like, what are we doing here?
Fighting. That's what we're doing here, fighting.
You're crying like a baby.
Crashing out, apparently.
You're going to hit old Mancer.
I don't even know he said you're going to hit old Mancer. I just know he was like, I don't know what was happening here. I was like, all right, well, you know.
That's the thing. I love Steph DeLander and I love Mance Warner, and Sammy has a place in my heart too, but it's just the build for this has been so cartoonish that I just can't stop laughing about it. When they did the thing last week after the show where they aired the Mance and Steph going to the car, and they open the trunk and Mance comes popping out of the trunk. That shit is so ridiculous. And then he got Santino being like, and then Santino's just like, you can't touch each other or one of you is fired. It's like,
if you don't make this cartoony, then when they bloody each other and spill all of their blood in that ring.
That's the thing, is that it's so cartoonish, but these two are going to beat the living hell out of each other tomorrow night. And the match is going to be good because they're both really good at the hardcore stuff. It's just hilarious how they've been getting here.
They gotta story you. No one wants to see Itchy and Scratchy on the TV. They want to see Tom and Jerry. And then once you sit down, it's Itchy and Scratchy.
You want to hit old mates? Sorry.
I'm glad you put that up because I wrote down he's grunting. Santino said no fighting. Are you crashing out tomorrow? I guess.
It's effectively the promo right there. Wesley defeats Laredo Kid because what happens when a luchador wrestles in Impact Wrestling Cresta Starr?
I'm gonna learn how to say this in Spanish. They always lose, and I'm sick of it. If I am a luchador, I'd rather sit in catering. This is ridiculous.
Well, if I can make you happy for a moment, you do have a first class match and the countdown to Sacrifice added to tomorrow night. First class are going to have a tag team match against Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr. Take a wild guess as to who might win that tag team match at TNA Sacrifice Countdown.
AJ Francis is about to pin Laredo Kid. All Laredo Kid's life, he had to fight.
Shout out to Laredo Kid. The dude was looking fresh. There was a good, quick pace in the match. Wesley is, again, very good at this. There's the chemistry there with Laredo Kid and Wesley. It's good stuff. Mm-hmm. Wesley gets the one with the cardiac kick. This was actually okay. So this is really cool. They did the celebration. Wesley's in the ring, and then all of a sudden the Rascals music hits, but it's so seamless that it's the same pitch. It's the same.
Yeah.
So it's like all of a sudden the music changes and you're just like, whoa, but you don't notice because the only way you see it is if you see Wes Lee react. But otherwise the music was like this seamless transition. Like, oh, that was really good. That was dope. And then they just hyped the 6-man tag for Sacrifice tomorrow. But the match between Wes Lee and Laredo Kid, while it was not in doubt, I do think Laredo Kid looked very good in defeat.
No, absolutely. Laredo Kid took this match. There were forearm exchanges into a neck breaker, into a Superman forearm, into a tiger driver, and then the crowd started chanting Uno Mas. Laredo Kid was on one tonight. And Wesley is a good wrestler in his own right. A little surprise, Wesley, for all intents and purposes, won this clean. I didn't think Tyson or Tyreek interfered at all this match. Like, not to say that they have to, and not to say that Laredo Kid is barely an inconvenience, but a little surprising considering his character that he's being a POS, for the lack of a better word.
I assume that Wesley just smartened up Tyreek and Tyson before the match and said, guys, it's cool. You guys just sit, watch the match. I'm facing a luchador. It's TNA. I don't know. They never win. You guys can just, it's an easy night at the office. They're like, you got it, boss.
I'm going to download Duolingo just to learn Spanish. Say justice for luchadores every time.
It's a good one. The Tyson and Tyreek thing, though, you're right. They didn't get involved. They didn't need to. But also, I like that afterwards, the Rascals do point out, they're like, notice how we came out at the end of the match after it ended because we're baby faces. I thought that was good stuff. It was a little corny, but like, the Rascals are corny, so it just made sense. They are.
This is me wanting to argue with you. This is me putting my hand down to argue with you.
Tell me they're corny. Go ahead. Try me.
I'm not going to... Listen, you're a lot of things, but I don't think you're a liar. No, I mean, honestly, no, I do agree with Trey Miguel going, you see how we waited? Yeah, maybe, maybe don't jump people. I get it. I got it. I live for it. I kind of just want these guys to fight already, though. I'm not going to hold you. The time for talk is over. It's tomorrow. So I'm at this point. Fight already. Poor the Laredo Kid, though.
You want to hit old Mance? Sorry.
I want to change your name in the bottom to Old Mancer now.
Oh, God, I can't help myself. Santino's in the back playing on his phone, and then comes Spitfire. They're upset about whatever happened last week with the Elegances. So Santino says it's going to be 2-on-3 for the Knockouts tag titles tomorrow night. And then you've got Iceman being like, who's the mystery partner? Who can it be? Who is the third man? And Santino's like, it's you. And then Iceman is like, it's me. He's like staring into the camera like the dorkiest dork.
He's the best. I will hear no Iceman slid. No.
It's me. This guy. What are we doing?
Wrestling. That's what we're doing, pal.
Anyway, congratulations to the new Knockouts Tag Team Champions, the Elegances.
I mean, TNA has the opportunity to do something really, really funny.
They're going to let Iceman get the pin.
You could, or you could get a third person for Spitfire have it be Zicky Dice or Johnny Swinger. You have the opportunity to do the funniest shit ever.
It ain't gonna be Swinger because he's working Maple Leaf Pro. I don't think Zicky's gonna be heading back to TNA anytime soon. But I like your
Johnny
style.
Swinger. I hate to say that I miss Johnny Swinger, but I do miss Johnny Swinger. He just figured out the internet. Oh my God. Johnny Swinger and Joe Hendry would have been.
I mean, they could. I mean, you can watch him on Maple Leaf Pro this weekend. He's going to be the same guy.
I think I will.
Good. Xia Brookside takes on Rosemary. It ends in DQ. Rosemary finds a chain. Xia takes it away. Rosemary misses Xia. That's the DQ. Pretty solid. Just a match.
I took no notes for this match. You have caught me. I'm a fraud. I don't watch wrestling. But those are coincidentally the 3 notes I did take.
That was it.
Oh, the only one you missed is I like Rosemary's eye makeup.
I didn't have that one. I'm sorry.
Come on, Joel.
I usually pay attention to a lot of things, but unfortunately, Rosemary's eye makeup is not one of them.
Get into it. It's giving Cthulhu under one eye. God, it's not a phase.
Goth girl. Macklin and Eric Young. I almost wrote Steve Young for some reason. Don't know why. Macklin and Eric Young. Macklin is sitting in a campfire. He's journaling. I hope he's writing song lyrics. You think he writes deep, emotional journaling stuff? Like, what's in his diary?
Take me home, country road. Dear
diary, it happened again.
You got to say it like Eminem doing the stand thing. You got to. If you're going to do it, Joe, you got to commit to the bit.
I thought about it for 2 seconds. I couldn't do it because I just don't have the lyrics in my brain.
Now my mind is like, it's literally Steve Macklin. Don't laugh. Steve Macklin and Eric Young are literally the Eminem Stan song, and Eric Young is Stan. I'm trying to invite you to my group 3 times. You won't accept my invite. You won't accept my rhyme.
No, stop it. What is wrong with you?
Listen, I'm learning from my my rap protege, my teacher, AJ Francis. I rhyme and I rip it. I rip it. I rhyme.
He's gonna repost so many videos because of this.
The one time I get a DM from a wrestler, fuck you, you suck. And I'm gonna write back, fair.
Yes, and I heard wrestling was all about improv, and in improv, it's yes and.
Come on now, listen. This is fantastic. I loved it. Him sitting by his campfire was fantastic. But when Eric actually appeared, I'm like, first of all, this man is in the middle of nowhere.
He's a ghost, right? We've established EY's a ghost. He's a ghost.
He's not beating the Spectre allegation. He's not. He's not at all. I did like this promo because I feel like it is a real and natural reaction. He's like, bro, I don't got beef with you. We were doing some shit together. I even poured you a drink. But listen, the guys you were hanging out with tried to kill me. I know that sounds weird, but it's a deal breaker. That might sound odd. If somebody tried to kill, would you still hang out with Deaner? All right. Well, you know, so we're cool, but leave me alone. And Eric Young being weird, you know, it's like, yeah, I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you alone for sure. Like, oh God.
He's like, you saw your way in, you can see your way out. Yeah, because he's a ghost. This is going back again to the interview with Macklin. We do talk about Eric Young, and I do ask if he thinks that Eric is a ghost. we do discuss whether or not this man is actually real.
That's the best. You asked the questions that I want to know about.
And it wasn't one of my written down ones. It was just like, we got into a conversation about, I don't even know. Just when you see the interview, you'll get it. But at one point I just make the reference. I'm like, but like, he's a ghost, right? Like he's been killed on air.
We've seen it, unless.
So effectively, the whole situation here is Macklin says as long as Northern Army's around, he can't be around EY. And EY's like, I'm not concerned about us being apart. Is that eventually fate will bring us back together and we're going to cross paths again. Then we're going to have to fight. And like, that's good. It's a matter of respect. That's all it is. And I like that they're telling this story in a way where both men are both pleading their case, standing their ground, and not being evil to each other. They're going to split off. They're going to tell different stories. Macklin's going to have a match with Frankie Kazarian, and EY Northern Army, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. And the two will maybe meet, like, I don't know, we'll say Slammiversary. This isn't me being like coy or anything. It's just like they might come back in several months. I wouldn't do it at Rebellion. I would hope that this kind of stretches out a little longer. If it goes all the way to July, great. But the idea here being that they don't need to touch every single week. But this was kind of the end of part 1 of their story. And if that's what they're going to do, I'm all about it.
No, I agree. I think tomorrow, Eric Young and the Northern Army does get involved with that whole "it's above you" thing, because I don't think that's over. I think there was an understanding reached tonight, and Eric Young, who's a habitual line stepper right now, is going to be like, "I see your line, but I'll put my toe right on over it. You mad?"
Still got to know what Macklin's writing in that journal. 9 a.m. dry cleaning. 10 o'clock pick up the dogs. 11 o'clock
text Joel a poop emoji.
First of all, we don't text.
Let me fantasy book your friendship, please. Thank you.
Friendship, this woman says. It's not a friendship. It's a business transaction.
Let me fantasy book your friendship, please.
Damn it. He's going to hear this and be like, I thought we had something here. Anyway, JDC takes on Deaner and wins. Deaner does his babyface promo introducing his fan service gimmick, shtick, whatever. JDC cuts him off, says you can leave, and then they're like, oh, we'll let the people decide. Falcon Arrow from JDC gets the win. That's it.
He's got kids. That's somebody else's gimmick.
It's very funny.
They don't care about your kids. That's the highlights of this match for me.
All I want to say is that they don't really care about kids. Macklin was writing Deaner's promo. That's what he was writing in the notebook.
Stop. Dear Deaner, ask the people. Here you go, pal.
This is my latest for creative. I hope you enjoy.
Honestly, imagine if he's writing like Enya Sight music.
Enya Sight. Oh, good for us.
I'd listen. I'd listen.
I'm glad you would. Tessa, Blanchard, Cora, Jade defeat Masha, Slamovich, and Ying Lee. This is very funny to me. First, thank you. She's okay, so I can do this. Hardcore cry. Anyway, I love the commentaries like Ying Lee is undefeated in singles competition. And I'm like, she's had 4 singles matches since she debuted in like September of last year. Stop it. Why are we switching the truth to make up points?
I mean, honestly, it's something. But when they said that, I was like, she's losing. But she
Ariana
didn't.
Grace. No, she didn't. Ariana, no, because they got to save that for tomorrow night. Ariana Grace is on commentary again, which is the high point of this whole thing. Jade uses the knockouts title to knock out Masha Slamovich, and then her partner gets the pin.
I'm looking at my notes, and you wrote everything that you said everything that I wrote except for the Masha 2-for-1, where she had like, I think she made Tessa put a hammerlock on Cora and hit them both with a forearm lariat. It was real tough. I will say, why are we pinning Masha Slamovich? Why are we pinning Masha Slamovich?
You know why.
Let me ask you one more time. Why are we pinning Masha Slamovich?
You know
especially
why.
the Tessa play.
You know why. That's the Rebellion match, and they're going to use this as the driver. She's going to beat Ying Lee. They're going to make it a big deal. Oh my God, Ying Lee hasn't lost any singles competition matches. And then they're going to say, oh, Tessa gets the win, and Cora Jade's going to lose. And then they're going to do Masha versus Tessa. And if she wins the Knockouts title, then I'm just going to be annoyed. And there we are. We're back, baby.
Sports disgusted. I don't care. I'm sports disgusted at that. I know this is going to happen, but I'm never going to be a fan of pinning your champion. You like nothing against Ying Lee. I think she's a fantastic wrestler, but come on, that's why you were brought into this match for. Why are we pinning Masha? I would have at least had Cora Jade pin Masha.
They used the belt shot. Again, they were just trying to motivate the inevitable matches at Rebellion. That's all it is.
Still sports disgusted, and I stand by that.
I get it. Hey, I'm not going to take away from that feeling. I think you're right. This, however, should make everyone feel both disgusted and good. Like disgusted in a character development way, because it was good. Santana and Ali in the summit. This was really, really, really good stuff. And it put some stuff into perspective for me. So Tom Hannivan's presiding. Of course he is. He's sitting between the two. Ali does his politician shtick. He basically says Santana can't handle the pressure of leading TNA. There's a Santana and Ortiz sighting. Haven't seen Ortiz in any footage, but now we are. Talking about handling the pressure of beating the system and Moose and making Josh Alexander say, I quit at Genesis. And basically Santana saying, you know, I can take the pressure. Hannafin reminds us that Santana hasn't lost in 6 months. And then Santana says that Ali is a grifter here. He effectively says that, and that people see it. And then Santana owns the fact that he's an addict. And he says, but now I'm an addict for the people. I'm an addict for the company and being true to myself every single day. So this is effectively, a redemption story that now we're telling. It's going to be hard to turn this into heartbreak. Like as a fan to see this, but they're going to. Ali brings out, I'll tell you why in a minute. Ali brings out a bottle of wine, says Santana's going to lose at sacrifice, and then he's going to hit rock bottom again, and he's going to break his daughter's heart. That's when Santana loses. It goes after Ali and company, and then they beat down Santana, and then they leave a glass of wine for him. I think Ali's winning this match, and I think Ali's going to win the World Championship, and I think Mustafa Ali is going to drop that title at Slammiversary to Mike Santana. That's the way I would book this thing now, because they are clearly hitting some very good storytelling with these two and a very good chemistry and this is their ace story. They're not doing shit with Joe Hendry other than Elijah's going to turn on him in the cage. And that's going to be the rebellion match.
No, you're not wrong. I think that's TNA's fault for not striking when Joe Hendry was hotter. Joe Hendry's still hot, but you played yourself with that one, respectfully. This segment itself, I said this last week and I'll say it again. The way that TNA has shown Mike Santana a reverence in his alcohol recovery, sobriety has just been a pleasure to watch. And then to have someone like Ali, the character, strip him down pretty much saying that you'll be nothing more than this. There is a raw emotion that I've seen this guy's a drunk before, but nothing like this. And this is good shit, pal. This is really, really good. I was actually surprised he didn't pour the wine all over Santana after he knocked him out at the end. I can understand why, but I'm like, if we're really being dastardly, okay. Now to your point about Ali winning, I could see that. We could do a best 2 out of 3 sort of situation. Ali beats Santana. Obviously, the good hands are going to get stooged out. Obviously, the big good hands are going to cheat. So then you have Ali say, I'm done with Santana. And Santana says, I am not going to let you get away from this. Maybe Santana gets the run back. Before Ali or whatever it is, they add Joe Hendry to the mix. I think the story is hot without it. And then you make it where, well, you can't get it because I'm in line for the title. And you can't get it because I'm in line for the title. And then that big blow off will lead to your number 1 contender.
So first of all, the reason why they couldn't put all the wine all over Mike Santana has nothing to do with pouring it all over Mike Santana. It's that they couldn't get that floor that dirty.
You know what? That's fair because I'm not paying for that.
That's the thing. They ain't gonna pay for the carpet cleaning service just for that. It made more sense to do the glass of wine thing for that whole moment, which it makes perfect sense. If they were doing it at their ringside, they could have done whatever because it's their product. But no, doing it in like a remote location in a hotel lobby or wherever they shot it, you can't mess up. It was a nice enough carpet.
No, I'm not mad at it. And I could even see it where you start here with, I'm going to leave a cup for you. Oh, you won't drink it? Now I'm going to do something else egregious. And it'll end up with me. I know you're sober, so I'm going to pour the alcohol on you because I'm a POS.
Right. And that was the other side too. You had to build how much of a POS he is and also tease the idea that Santana is going to relapse.
I mean, also, the rarest Ortiz sighting, wrestling now has trained me that nothing is a throwaway clip. Nothing is unintentional. So why out of all this time now start showing Santana? You could have been, Ortiz, you could have been did that. You could have been did that. They talked about him briefly in his time with LAX, but I would love to see Ortiz back, especially to help him with the good hands. Don't think that'll happen if you get an original LAX. Sorry, I popped myself there. So I mean that won't happen. But like, can you imagine? I don't mind. I would love to see Ortiz back. I think these guys got real life beef though, so I don't want to speculate. So I don't know. But I would love to see Ortiz back, especially for this. This would be the perfect way to bring him back. Y'all, we all know y'all had beef, and imagine y'all squashed the beef because this guy's being an ass.
I think Ortiz is still under AEW deal.
I haven't seen him in many a moon.
He was injured, but I think he's still under a deal. I don't know for sure. Unless he quietly left and people just have him keep out. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But again, you put him out. You put him in. He's in there because it's part of the history of Santana in TNA. It is there. But talking about whether the beef is settled, I think it's less about the beef being settled between the two. They will work together for the right moments.
Listen, I may not like you, but I'll work with you for a paycheck. It's wrestling, baby. I'm gonna talk to you after.
Well, that's kind of what happened when they did the Anarchy in the Arena match, where they suddenly came back together. It was just like, we're gonna do this one, we're gonna blow it off, and then that'll be it. Because up until that point, it was like, and so we interviewed Santana a few times now, and like we talked about the stuff with Ortiz, and we talked about him branching off into singles, and this has always been part of Santana's goal, was that he wanted to grow out of being a tag team guy.
Yeah,
so
no,
instead,
he's good.
Yeah, so instead, like it was nothing more than a professional misunderstanding or a professional disagreement. It was never they hated each other. I think it was just they had two different points of view of where they wanted to be in their careers. Santana, wanted his way, and Ortiz had a different view of what he wanted. So I don't know if you'll see Santana, or say if you see Ortiz back in TNA. I would love to see it for the storytelling purpose, but
yeah,
it's going to be up to them. Now with Ali, so this is the problem with trying to book this thing, because again, if you Santana winning at Slammiversary is the slam dunk of slam dunks, winning the title from Ali at this point, who is being that guy and can continue to okay. You want to get really weird with how this works? Santana is the general American public, and Ali is the man in charge of the American public.
No, yeah. That storyline is extremely compelling because of this. Yeah, there's a lot of parallels.
That's what they're trying to do. And they're not outright telling you, but they're very much drawing those parallels, and they're very much getting close. There's a lot of gaslighting. There's a lot of, trying to pump up people who are losers effectively. Tasha Steelz, the good hands. We're going to call you the great hands. They still lose, but they're doing the bidding of the leader, fearless leader. Tasha Steelz is going out there and being a complete asshole to an intern because fearless leader wants his coffee a certain way. Those parallels are there. And Santana is the everyman. Santana is the one who's not going to be, who's trying to fight back. Santana's going to lose. Ali's going to make Santana's life a living hell until he gets his comeuppance at Slammiversary, and he basically puts down Ali. The difference is this time Ali's going to have the world title instead of the X Division championship.
I fought the law, and the law won. That's what that's giving me. I mean, that's not a bad shout. And I'll even take it one step further. And again, I said this last week too. The great hands, you're falling for the same trick you fell for last time. Ali used you up until he got two other people who were actually quote unquote gonna win it. He kicked you guys out unceremoniously. So when it happens again, because it will happen again, what are we doing here? I live for that. Sometimes you gotta be a jabroni. I live.
And that's the way it's going to end, or that's the way it should end, is that these three who have been manipulated by Ali should see it by Slammiversary and either not come out with him or leave one by one throughout the match to effectively say, we're done. We're not going to listen to you anymore. You're a fraud. And then he loses his title, and that's the end of it. And then they do a contractually obligated rematch, and Santana wins again, and that's it. That's how you do it.
Poor Joe Hendry. Because I feel like we're putting all this emphasis on fantasy booking it, and Joe Hendry, unfortunately, even though he's the champion, he ends up feeling like a backdrop to more compelling stories, which is very unfortunate.
They've done nothing with Joe since he won the title. He won it at Genesis. Nothing has happened since then. He hasn't had a compelling story. He hasn't faced anyone credible. It's been nothing.
And the only one who's credible is kind of Santana at this point. And you gonna have him beat Santana? You could.
No,
you
you're not,
could,
because
but you're
there's no reason to do that, because Santana is a babyface and Hendry is a babyface. Doing that matchup is just it's going to kill the momentum of what the title could mean. It's going to kill the momentum of one of those guys, and it's going to be Santana and Hendry possibly both losing it.
Yeah.
I would much rather that Ali beat Hendry, put the singing man out of his misery, and then I don't know where Kazarian fits in. That's been my wild card, but Kazarian could hold it through the summer and cash in the fall. There's always that possibility. But like, Santana's great at the chase. He deserves that moment at home, and that moment in that room and that crowd makes the most amount of sense to me. And Ali right now is emerging as being the guy to give him that moment to make it all the better. Because at this point, I'd said it was going to be Frankie walking into Slammiversary with the title. I don't think that needs to be anymore. You've got Ali. You'd play it up. Ali wins this one. Santana wins the next one, and then he wins the one after that inevitably comes up. That's got to happen.
How do you factor Joe then into Ali pinning Joe? Like, granted, you could do, well, we have the great hands cheat, but I think Joe he's over that. So I would just question, how would we get the title off of Joe onto Ali in a way that makes sense?
Oh, that's easy. It's going to be either. So this is why I'm a little skeptical about or weird about the play out. If you want to do this at a pay-per-view, it's got to be Rebellion, because Rebellion's the next pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have Joe Hendry defend the title twice, once at Unbreakable and then a week later at Rebellion. If there's a way that someone gets paid off so that Hendry has to work one, like they'll find a way to tell the story. Ali paid off somebody or got Elijah to do a match against Hendry, whatever it is. They got to do the Elijah match. Mm-hmm. That feels like an Unbreakable match at this point. Hendry's going to drop it at Rebellion to Ali. That's how I see it. Do it at pay-per-view, and then Ali carries it all the way through to July. Hendry will have a match at one point. Maybe they'll do another one. Maybe they won't do a rematch, but that's where I see it.
I wonder how we get there, because even if you do it that way, Ali is still heavily involved with Mike Santana, and that's easily a 4-month program. Easily.
But you're not, because Santana could get so down on himself, and he's got to hit his rock bottom after losing to Ali at Sacrifice. That's the beginning of his own deal, because it'll be his first loss in singles in TNA. Okay. It's going to make it's a crisis of conscience moment, because Ali just spent so many hours, telling him he's a big failure. He's going to crash out. He's going to hit rock bottom, blah, blah, blah. And Santana's either going to go away for a little bit, or he's going to have to rebuild his stock. And the fans are going to be behind him the whole time. It's just going to make him a bigger babyface. But you got to get there by having some sort of adversity. What was the line that they used? It was something. Pressure is when you meet adversity. And they've been talking about pressure. Santana can't handle the pressure. When you meet adversity and you lose, your pressure suddenly takes over. And that's what this is. Ali's going to win and say, you couldn't beat me. The pressure was on. You couldn't meet the adversity. You lost. Now you're a big old loser. Go away, never come back. And Santana might go away and, quote, never come back, but then he's going to come back, and eventually they'll get to Slammiversary. That's how I would play it out if I were in the creative run of this.
Why, when you said that, all I could think of is, Mickey, where are you going? I'm going home.
Yeah. And then the last rodeo.
Yeah. You could do that.
So that's where I'm at. I know for a while it was Frankie versus Santana at Slammiversary. Now I'm on Ali, because I think this is the match. This has been the story. This should be the feud. This should be your 1A, 1B. No offense to Joe Hendry. They gave him the title. There hasn't been much behind it. He got the moment. The crowd loves him. Don't get me wrong. We're about to go into the basically the main event block where he's talking about, or where he's having matches and doing stuff. Crowd likes him, but they haven't given him anything substantial as champion to deal with. It's just been matches. It's just been matches and joking. So let's move on. Let's give him a meaty story like the Ali title run.
No, I totally agree. Even if he beats Ali or something like that, I feel like I said before, when the iron was hot for you to strike for Joe Hendry, you waited till the iron cooled a little bit, and he's still super over, but it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's not the way he was before. And you didn't build up anyone next. And the people you have built up next are locked in together. And it's like, yikes. You know, like Matt Cardona was cool. I think even you could have had Joe Hendry go through the system. And you could have did that as Joe Hendry was champ. To me, there were a few missed opportunities. But now that we're here, Ali and Santana is so over that it's kind of like, what do we do with Joe? Joe and Elijah, okay, I'll watch it. I love a good Bard v. Bard, but in comparison to sports entertainment, Ali, Santana, we could do more for our world champion.
Yeah. AO saying in the chat, they waited for Rumble season with Hendry.
Why are you waiting on another company to do your story?
That was the whole thing, was that they had the partnership, and they wasn't even a story. It was just that they wanted the sitting TNA champion to be a part of the Royal Rumble. And that was the moment that they wanted, because they weren't going to get that with Nick Nemeth. I don't think Dolph was going to make an appearance. I think Joe Hendry wants to go and wants to be there. And that's kind of the problem with tipping your hand, is that you're not going to be given the full push, because Santana is not leaving. Ali is not leaving. Neither of these guys have made intentions clear of where they want to go next. As a result, they're going to push those guys.
Not wrong, but I don't necessarily disagree with Joe Hendry tipping his hand a little too early. I'm thinking last year, the beginning of the summer, where Joe Hendry was inescapable, he was everywhere. There was an argument that we could have cut the Nick Nemeth thing short with the JBL, because that was really weird. We could have cut that short. We could have given it to him then and had to do a longer reign and do whatever. There's an argument there, but at the end of the day, now it's kind of like, what are we doing with Joe Hendry? I'm high-key more interested in Santana and Ali. And that's my source of frustration, because Santana and Ali should be like an extra. It should be a really good garlic mashed potato. If Joe Hendry's your champion, that should be your steak. Why is my steak given London broil and these are giving me golden Idaho potatoes straight from the god Dionysus himself?
The JBL thing is still very funny. I joked about it before. And really, I'm starting to get closer to thinking we're going to do Nick Nemeth and JBL at Slammiversary. I really am starting to think we're there.
I've watched wrestling long enough to know that might actually happen. That'll happen. And why would it happen? Because
$20 a ticket. Laps fan will be like, Dolph Ziggler and Bradshaw? Sure, $20. I'll pay that shit. Let's go. Ali, Mustafa Ali from the Cruiserweight Classic. Sure, let's go. $20.
Stop. Not the Cruiserweight Classic.
They'll know him from other stuff. But like, my point being, if you had those two guys, if you do Nick Nemeth and JBL, like let's talk about it. Joe Hendry defeats Ryan Nemeth. Kazarian's out on commentary. Santino comes out to introduce the match, and then Ryan Nemeth interrupts. And he says, "My big brother," comes back at one day at Sacrifice. And then he says he's accepting Nick's contractually obligated rematch.
No, Nick gifted it to him, and he's accepting it, and he's taking it.
You're right. Which further proves that Nick Nemeth does not watch the product, which is something that we saw last week when he talked about how much of a loser his big brother or his little brother is. Which is hilarious. Anyway, they do the match, standing ovation. Hendry wins. And then Santino's like, well, LOL, now that that's out of the way, Hammerstone's back in TNA. Well, I mean, like, he's back for one match, because it's very funny to listen to commentary and be like, look who's back. And meanwhile, like 2 weeks ago, Hammerstone was like, I'm done with TNA. I've left. It's like,
said, I'm taking my talents to Miami.
Effectively, yes, that was it. The match was fine. The match is good. Hendry defending the title was something that needed to be done, because he's not defending it at Sacrifice. He hasn't really been the focal point of much in TNA compared to everything else. But the match was good. You know, Frankie Kazarian's great on commentary, being just a piece of shit bad guy. The big superplex spot, or the suplex spot where Hammerstone gets suplexed by Hendry, gets a big reaction, and then Hendry wins with the standing ovation. And then they do a big schmoz finish system, Cologne's attack, the Hardys, Leon Slater, Elijah makes the save. It was fine. It was nothing special, but that was the end of Impact. 2 title defenses for Joe Hendry in the books. They're gonna pad this shit now. They're just gonna give them random ass double title defenses.
He gonna get the R-Truth stats, the 700 at a time, 24/7 champion.
Exactly.
Honestly, I was sports bored this match. I gotta tell you, both of them. Ryan Nemeth came out, got standing ovation. I was like, you know what? At least this is done, and we're moving on to it. And I thought there was gonna be some sort of angle. When he said there was another match and Hammerstone came out, I was like, okay. We were complaining that Joe Hendry needs something a little stiff, but then this match was kind of like, all right, I guess. And then it was over. I was like, okay, I super guess. Just for everyone to have a brawl. Yo, y'all don't just say you don't respect Joe. This is why Joe Hendry leaving. This is why he leaving.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I do see AO in chat saying I think this was Joe's best defense thus far.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've got to defend the title. I liked him versus Matt Cardona, but again, there's like, if there are storylines on this show, it's kind of funny that there's nothing to the caliber of Ali Santana, who again is not even for a title. And your main event, your champion is that. Even I may not like Tessa Blanchard, but she's at least keeping it interesting with the women. So you've got something from Masha with Cora. What are we doing with our world heavyweight champion? I don't think that's an unfair ask. I like.
Yep. Wilchism has sent a super chat saying, I'd rather have Masha drop the title to you,
Joel.
or Stephanie Vaquer rather than the other woman. God help us.
Bro, I don't have balls, but they would be on fire every day, just burning, lowering my sperm count every day. I don't want that, but I know that's what's going to come to pass. And I want TNA to be like, yo, my fault. I was goofy. I'm a goofy guy. I mean, you've done it before. I need you to be a goofy guy now.
Anyway, that's TNA Impact for March 13th, 2024.
I got one more. Hold on. I got one more.
Okay.
When they say Tessa the door, send us through that same door y'all sent Taya through.
Now she has a podcast.
The door, Taya.
Taya Valkyrie. She's great.
That's why I'm asking who has the podcast, because those are the only two I want to listen to. The door or Taya.
Yeah. You know Taya's got it.
I've never seen wrestling a day in my life, as it turns out. In this moment, I'm sports dyslexic.
Well, you can watch a lot of wrestling tomorrow night because TNA Sacrifice is on. It's on the TNA Plus app. Do you want to run down this card real quick?
Hell yeah, brother. Let's do it.
Countdown match. Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr. take on First Class, AJ Francis and Casey Navarro. Who's going to win this match, and why is it not the Luchadors?
Because they always lose, and these two are outside, even though they do their show in inside podcast, but they're out. Yeah, they're outside.
He outside. Be good. I tried to get Macklin. Outside. I tried to get Macklin to bury AJ Francis. He couldn't do it.
Maybe Macklin wants to go to the pen.
Not going to entertain this one. Nope. Stop it. Nope. Not going to happen. Nope. No. No, sir. The Rascals, the team of Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz, with Ace Austin, take on Wesley, Tyson, and Tyreek from NXT. Really, Wes, Tyson, and Tyreek are all NXT because, again, I always get confused which company Wesley works for.
I think the Rascals win here. I do. I don't know anything about Wesley to make an educated decision beyond. I think the Rascals win here with Ace Austin, of course.
I had a conversation with Jeremy over on In the Weeds. So for those who missed it, at NXT Roadblock, the Hardys successfully defended the TNA tag titles against Fraxium, who are the NXT tag champions. And at that show, afterwards, they did a digital exclusive where the Hardys said, oh, since we beat Fraxium, maybe we should be in line for an NXT tag title match. If they run that match at Stand and Deliver in Vegas over WrestleMania weekend, I'd like it to be a multi-person match. And I think that Tyson and Tyreek should be a part of this, and they should they should win effectively. You get there by having them beat the Hardys in TNA, and say we beat them, because I really think Tyson and Tyreek are going to win the NXT tag titles, and I think this is the way to do it. So I don't know who wins this match. I'm going towards Wesley, Tyson, and Tyreek, so that someone from NXT wins tomorrow night. That's where I'm at.
Oh, you know what? Now that you're saying that out loud, I changed my answer because I'm thinking of who else from NXT is on the card. Oh, no, they're not winning. Yeah, no. I'm not mad at that. Also, I could even say you can make the case. Let's say the Rascals do win tomorrow. You can make the case and say, well, I like the multi-man. You can make it a 4-way. This way you can really cover the Hardys' bases and have it a really competitive match. So you have 2 TNA, 2 NXT, and I think the Hardys would win that just because. So I don't know.
Oh, I'd like the idea of doing. We talked about multi-person tag title match. Could be 3 teams, 4 teams, 5 teams. Doesn't matter. But I think this ends with Tyson and Tyreek winning the NXT tag titles down the line. I think Wesley, Tyson, and Tyreek win tomorrow night.
I'm taking your answer. Yes, lock it in. Final answer.
Street fights. Vance Warner takes on Sammy Callahan. I don't know, and I don't know if I care, but I think this match is going to be great. I think the fans are going to win.
I'm the loser. I'm going to lose in this match. I don't want to see 2 crazy Ohio men do Ohio shit to each other.
It's a very good point. I think Mance wins. It's his first official match in the company. Sammy is Sammy. He's fine. Mance wins. That's that.
Yeah, and Steph the Legend is going to be mad obnoxious. I don't live for that.
Basically. Masha Slamovich puts the Knockouts title up against Cora Jade from NXT. This feels like a Masha win.
Cora's going to die. But we could see a Tessa run in at some point, unfortunately for us.
Well, Tessa's going to beat Ying Lee anyway at the match.
Oh, yeah. No, she doesn't wrestle twice one night because
then she'd have to show up twice in one night.
Come on now.
Yeah, I think Masha wins. I think Tessa beats Ying Lee. They're going to make it a big deal that she beat the undefeated Ying Lee, and everyone's going to be like, oh, that was 4 matches. Like, what are we doing?
Tessa, the door.
Sure, people will have their feelings about her beating Ying Lee of all people. Anyway, Moose puts the X Division Championship up against Jeff Hardy in a ladder match because, of course, someone needs to jump off of a high thing in this match, and it should be Jeff Hardy.
The meme queen in me says beat Moose.
But
I don't think that's going to happen.
Slater's got that.
That's not going to happen. But, I think this is, speaking of Leon Slater, this is the battery in the back. So I think Moose is going to disrespect Jeff Hardy and maybe put Jeff Hardy out for a while. And then Leon says, like, I got to avenge my father.
If he takes him out, then that's going to hurt the NXT stuff. So I don't think he's going to take him out. I think I don't know how they're going to play it off.
Take him out. So what's that pay-per-view? They said it's coming up, Roadblock or something?
No, Stand and Deliver, which is WrestleMania weekend, which is Unbreakable weekend.
That's next month.
That's April. Yeah. 17th is Unbreakable. I
mean, I wouldn't keep them out till then, but I would make it look like, oh, Moose was so interested because he was enraged by but Femi, I don't know. But I could see that being the motivation for Leon.
I just don't think
Moose is going to win here.
Yeah, Moose is going to win. I just don't think you'll see Jeff Hardy for a week or two from TV because he's at home selling his, beat.
Yeah.
Easy as that. What else is on this card? Spitfire go 2-on-3 against Ash by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, and Iceman. I think we have new Knockouts tag champions.
You've been saying that for a while now, and I don't believe you. So I'm going to say Spitfire, but also, how many times does Spitfire need to fight the Elegance? Get another tag team.
One more
Are
time.
The Iconics busy? Okay, but then how many times does the Elegance have to lose and still be rewarded with the title shot?
So it's funny that you bring up the Iconics, the inspiration as they are. I saw Cassie Lee's first match back. She did it in Toronto. That was her first match since she went and had her kid.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's going to bring Jessie McKay back with her. I think it's WrestleMania weekend in Toronto. And that's April. They're also working a match at Prestige as a tag team. So basically this is me saying the inspiration could go back to TNA if that's where they want to go, because they're both getting back in the ring this spring.
The inspiration screaming in their promos and Alicia Edwards going, "Do you want to know something?" My brain is in the stratosphere. My brain is in the stratosphere. I love that.
My brain already hurts at the idea of doing that. But either way, the handicap match, yes, people are saying it's a waste. It is a waste, but it's also the way that the Knockouts tag titles are going to change hands.
More Knockouts tags, please, because I would be okay with Spitfire changing, but again, you beat Elegance like 4 or 5 times now, and then to do what with it?
Yeah, this has to be it.
Yeah.
Steve Macklin versus Frankie Kazarian. This is a one-on-one match that I called last week, by the way.
Macklin beat up older Spy Kids, man. Beat him up, and then write Enya music about it.
I think Frankie wins. Only because Frankie's story is, again, he's been in the background racking up these wins. I think that's going to continue.
He could cheat, actually. He could cheat. Or the Northern Armory could come out and menace.
You're going to get Sinner and Sane are going to come out and probably cost Macklin the match. EY will be nowhere to be found. And Macklin's going to be like, "I told you to stay out of my business." And EY's going to say, "That wasn't me. They did it. And I wasn't there." They can do something like that. So that's kind of where my brain is.
I can see that. Rake of the eye, feet on the ropes. Frankie Kazarian's good for that.
Yeah, exactly. Mustafa Ali versus Mike Santana. I said it earlier. We had a very long conversation. I think Ali's going to beat Santana. That's going to be a moment.
My heart. I win. I'm the fan. I win. I don't want either one of these men to lose. Now that Ali is a very compelling argument, and I'm like that. I wouldn't hate it. It would drag it out because I think this is a very well told story. But also, my man Santana, my man. You're not gonna tell him he's a disappointment to himself and most importantly his daughter, and then you lose. Nah. As a fan, I feel like when the Undertaker lost his streak, I'm that guy with the. I'm mad, but I win. I don't know who wins, but I win.
Yeah, I think Ali wins, and I think that we're going to be busted up about it in the best way possible. That's the way it should be.
Upset.
Yeah. No, in the story, that's the way it should be. You should feel really upset that the dude who's gaslighting you is winning. Santana will shine in defeat. He'll look good. No one's going to take away from him, and Ali's just going to look like a piece of shit heel, and it's going to be great.
And I think they could still protect him by having his cabinet interfere, whatever. Again, this match is going to be storyline-wise, I'm already setting myself up for heartbreak because Ali, piece of crap. But this match is about to put up prime LeBron numbers, prime Kobe numbers. This match about to hoop.
Yeah, this is the match that will absolutely stand out for that show. You'll be wanting to watch it. And the main event is a steel cage 10-man tag. TNA World Champion Joe Hendry teams with Matt Hardy, Elijah. Matt Hardy is also one half of the tag champions. Elijah, Leon Slater, and Nick Nemeth. They take on the System. That's Eddie Edwards, Myers, and JDC. And the Colognes, Eddie and Orlando. And Lish will also be at ringside, I'm assuming, because Eddie Edwards is there. I think that the System and the Colognes win. I think it's because Ryan turns on Nick and costs them the match. And then we get to Ryan and Nick at Rebellion. And then Elijah and Joe, I don't know when that happens anymore. Maybe they'll flesh that out for later, but I wouldn't be surprised if that also happens.
No, I agree with you. Unfortunately, I want to say the good guys win, but Ryan Nemeth is going to pull some sucker mother lover stuff. And that's how that's going to shake out. And because of that, one of two things are going to happen. Either Nick Nemeth is going to have a crisis of conscience and try to shake his brother out of it, or Nick Nemeth, because he said this to Matt Hardy when Matt Hardy was saying, "Your brother's a loser and a dweeb." He's like, "Yo, that's my brother. You know how you are about your brother, but that's my brother. Chill out." I think he might see it and see what's going on. He does watch the product. He's just being nice to his little brother. And I see that you guys are bullying my little brother. So if you got a super kick, Matt Hardy, if you try to check my brother, I might have to check you, Joe Hendry, because I already don't like you. So I don't know. And I think that might put a brothers versus Elijah and Joe Hendry. I think that once that finishes up, Joe Hendry and Elijah be like, "I'm tired of being in the tag team. I want to fight you," or whatever it is. And we could do that if you want to stretch out the Joe Hendry thing. But again, that goes back to when does Santana, are we going to keep Joe Hendry locked in? Nothing against Elijah. I'm here for the bar tag team. but this is still my champion. I want my most interesting story should be my women and my men's championship. That's just how I feel. Maybe I'm being a grandma who shakes her fist at the sky about wrestling.
No, I think that there's enough there that it can play out that way. But again, I think Ryan's going to turn on Nick, and we're going to get to that match sooner than later.
I think Ryan's going to turn on the group. Nick is going to have his back until he does it. And then Ryan's going to do the funniest thing ever and team up with JBL.
I'm telling you, man, JBL is going to come back and he's going to turn on Nick Nemeth. This started in AAA. In AAA, it's going to come back and people are going to be so confused, and I'm going to love every minute of it.
And it'll also get Ryan and Nick Nemeth away from the championship scene. I don't know if they're staying in TNA for a while, but it'll give them something to do that'll keep them relevant and interest. You know what I mean? It'll give them something to do. But
how can I put this nicely? Ryan Nemeth has nowhere else to go right now.
Damn.
He doesn't. He's dropping lawsuits against his former employer, and then the guy who's currently one of the top stars in the company that has a partnership with the company he currently works with. He's doing some stuff right now.
Allegedly, and this is a joke. Don't be a bully. That's a joke. That's a joke. Please don't sue me. I got no money. It's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke. That is a joke. That is a joke.
All right. Someone's asking, am I going to end up getting that 14 Pro? I told a story this morning on In the Weeds. I ordered an iPhone 14 Pro from Best Buy Marketplace through a different seller. Not going to give the company any credence because we have a farther reach on this channel versus the other one where I talked about it. Mm-hmm. It was a good deal. It was less than $400 for a 14 Pro. That's Canadian, by the way. So for you, that's like $100. And I was like, oh, okay, for a 14 Pro, I'll pay that. The phone arrived. They sent me an 11 Pro. And yeah, that was the look on my face too. So what happened was the listing is supposed to be a 14 Pro. Someone screwed up. They have not fessed up to it yet, but I'm waiting for this company to be like, oops, we screwed up, and we'll send you the right phone because we screwed up. So far I've gotten, please look at this PDF about initiating a return. And I'm going to be like, no, I ain't returning shit. I want the phone that I ordered, and then you'll get your phone back. Or I need some sort of tracking number, so I'll send the phone back when you prove to me.
Come on now.
That you're not, that you didn't just screw me. So I'm waiting on this, but will I get it? Time will tell. They answer the email because it's through Best Buy. You got to wait, and they won't let you do the service. They won't let you do the cancellation and all that any other way. You have to go through Best Buy because it's dumb. I might call them tomorrow and deal with it. Long story short, going to deal with that and hopefully have a new phone in my possession sooner than later.
I'm so sorry. Android supremacy. Right now is a good time to tell you about my Samsung.
I've used Android phones for a long time. I just don't like. There are a few things that Apple iPhones have that I prefer to have.
That's fair too.
That's all. I used to be one of those like, no, one's better than the other, and then I was like, I just like what I like, and the people like what they like.
I don't care. I'm always going to be a contrarian with some things for fun, not real things. Phone discourse, why not?
Finally, before we get out of here, someone asking, Jeff Cobb really going to WWE? Go to FightfulSelect.com, the best $6 in the business. We got news on the Jeff Cobb and WWE story from this afternoon. We dropped that information. There's interest. Go read more. FightfulSelect.com, best $6 in the business. Cresta Starr, let's get out of here. Tell them what's going on.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for hanging out with myself and Joe Pro every Thursday where we go over TNA Impact. We have us a funky good time, and every Saturday, myself and Rick and Iridian go over AEW Collision, and we have us a funky good time. If you need more Cresta Starr in your soul, in your veins, you can find me on all forms of social media at Cresta Starr, CRESTA except for Twitter. It's Cresta the Star, like Megan Thee Stallion, but I really don't do that. Find me on Blue Sky, what Joel said, like Cresta Starr at bluesky.com, whatever. Look it up. Look it up. Also, I have a podcast, Slap Grapple Pop. We talk about professional wrestling, fashion, and I kind of just do stuff. So you should check it out. And that's on my YouTube, Cresta Starr at YouTube. And I've talked enough. Joel Pearl, where can the people find you?
Oh, I'm easy to find. I am at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl, thejoelpearl.com on Blue Sky. I am in the weeds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a 5-day-a-week show. But I'm on that show Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays over on Fightful Overbooked. It's our morning show. We start at 10 a.m. Eastern talking about wrestling, talking about nonsense, talking about me getting the phone that I'm supposed to be getting. That's a show that we do. Whatever, man. This is what we do. It's a morning show. If you never listen to the drive time morning shows in your car when you're going to work, we do the same stuff. And then we pepper in wrestling because that's what people want to talk about too. That's what we do. Are we going to do Sorry, we can try that again. Are we going to do a sacrifice post show tomorrow? Probably not. I don't expect any big moments to happen. We will recover everything that happened next Thursday when we do our post show, as we do every Thursday here on Fightful, and we do the pay-per-view post shows. Or if there's an undeniable card that needs our attention and we have to talk about it, then we'll do it. For now, we'll do it as it comes. We're not going to do tomorrow night. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Anyway, doesn't matter. So for Cresta Starr, you know who I am. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Bye.